Is this thing on?
What's up, everybody? Like the last time, man, this is going so fast. I hope I get to everybody's questions. And thank you for everybody that's joining on. We got everybody coming on. We got 24 people in less than a minute and 38 seconds.
How's everybody doing?
Mic check, mic check. Hector, can you hear me? Can you hear Chris? Can you hear me? Joe Rogan is in the house. What's up, Don? What's up, Dustin? My man, Dustin. Dennis, I got you in, man, at the last second. I got you in there in the raffle. We only had about 9 people show up into the raffle, so you got the odds are in your favor, man. And we got a couple different packages coming up, so stay tuned. I'm going to wait a couple more seconds till we get started.
How's your day, Ram?
Man, my day's good, dude. I've been waiting about a week for this.
Well, while these people load in, I want to ask you a question. Have you seen the disturbance in the Gulf right now?
Man, dude, this isn't going to be another UFO talk show, Chris.
No, I'm talking about hurricane disturbance.
All right.
Yeah. We'll leave the UFOs to...
Is it coming this weekend?
It's right there in the Yucatan.
Is it?
Yeah.
Hey, guys, if y'all ain't doing anything this weekend, there's a big tournament going on. Redfish Bay Tournament.
Yeah, Redfish Bay Tournament.
Truly. Not this year's truly, but this year's truly.
Redfish Bay Tournament. It's a fun tournament. Come on down. It'll be in Aransas Pass Civic Center. We're going to do the captain's meeting on Friday, Calcutta on Friday. Just look up Redfish Bay Kayak Fishing Tournament on Facebook. You can get all the details there. We'll go live and do some stuff tomorrow. I don't know at what time. I'm going to kind of work around. I know Matt has his thing going on tomorrow, so I'll probably do it either before or after that. But if you guys want in on a tournament this weekend, it's live. I'm so used to saying live. I'm going to go live tomorrow about it. Maybe even pre-record it. We'll see. But it's going to be in Aransas Pass.
So Chris has headphones on. As you can tell, we're upgrading the show a little bit. We got mics. We got one set of headphones. And me being the host, I'm letting Chris use the headphones today.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because this show isn't about me, guys. It's about Chris. Last week, we had Poco Cedillo in the house. And I'm sorry, Poco. I'm sure you're listening in, but we didn't have headphones, and now we do. So
we're evolving.
Yeah, we're
evolving. Well, it's not the last time you'll see Poco, though, right?
Oh, dude, I'm bringing Poco on next week, and I'm bringing you on in 2 weeks. Oscar's got a question. Is it going to be a live captain's meeting?
I will go live. Possibly. It just depends. I don't know what the cell phone reception is going to look like. We'll discuss all that tomorrow, though.
Are these medium shirts? No, Vincent. This is actually an extra large. I'm trying to cut back, but I'm just playing.
Mediums.
Yeah.
I haven't been able to wear a medium shirt since high school.
Yeah, I haven't worn a medium shirt since I was like 5 months old. But all right, so let's get started, man. We got 46 viewers, and I'm super stoked having y'all on the show, man. I'm your host, Ram Garcia. I've done 3 shows already, and I've yet to introduce myself. I completely forgot. I apologize for that. I'm your host, Ram Garcia, and today I got a special guest for y'all. We had him the first time. This is probably gonna be the last time I say this because we're pretty much caught up already. I had him the first show on Spooled Life Live 1. This is 2.0. But I got my man here, Chris Castro, BTB kayaker, inshore kayaker, lake kayaker, anything that holds water. This dude kayaks in it. Bathtub.
Pools,
sewer systems, anything.
Sewer systems, yeah.
Yeah, anything that's got fish, anything that's got water. This guy kayaks it. We're going to pick his brain. We're going to learn from him. We're going to ask him questions that no one in live TV history has asked. And we're going to do it exclusively here on Spooled Life Live. So it's going to be a good show. We got his mom in the house, Mrs. Ruth
Actually,
Garcia.
that is my mom.
Yeah.
Hey, Mom. I made it, Mom. I made it.
Yeah. This is a huge accomplishment. You should be very proud of your son right now. Seth Barnes, Richard, everybody, thank you for showing up. And we're going to get this started. But first, I want to say, did you pick that up? I heard it, right?
No,
I can't be talking out loud.
No,
By the end of the show, it's gonna be all red. This microphone's gonna look like a Selena microphone by the end of the show. I want to wish my boy Ruben Peña a happy birthday, man.
Happy birthday.
I'm not sure how old you are, but you got to be at least 30, at least, right?
He's 35.
35.
35.
Yeah, so he's older than us.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, man. I hope you had a good day, dude. And we got a prize package going to you. From Chris. Chris's house. Chris is going to send him a prize pack. All right, so let's get started, man. Like I said a while ago, we got Chris Castro. Welcome to the show, man. Again.
Let's do it. We'll make it official this time.
Yep. Tell us a little bit about yourself, man.
Well, my first name is Chris. My last name is Castro.
Write that down.
Nobody knows my middle name. If you find out my middle name, man, I'll give you a prize. Man, I'm born here in Corpus Christi, Texas. I didn't live long here. Parents, got in and out. College. We moved fairly quickly to the Sugarland area, and probably not even, if my memory serves me correct, maybe not even, but a few years. I found myself living in overseas, actually, in Spain for 2-ish, 3-ish years, something around there. And I've always been a fan of fishing. I was one of those kids that back in the days, if you guys are tuning in and if you know what a VHS is, you know what a VHS is? I used to actually rent fishing videos. And since my mom is on, it's kind of funny. Right there in Rosenberg.
Oh.
No, this is local library.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they used to actually rent VHS videos out of libraries. And one of the videos I remember I used to rent out of there were fishing videos, like the old school, like Bill Dance and stuff like that. And I forget the dude's name. He was a ditch pickle angler with the Tennessee cap. I know you guys are gonna give me hell for not remembering that guy's name, but what was his name?
Tom something.
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know.
Tom Clancy.
But I used to love renting fishing videos, man. And that was kind of my first, like, man, I want to do this. It was so entertaining for me to do it, and that's kind of how I began. Never could catch anything at a young age, but the natural calling was there for me. Moved to Spain, lived there for a little bit, never really fished much, but that was my first time that I kind of saw some big tidal fluctuations with some of my friends that we would travel with every now and then.
Bill Dance wore the Tennessee cap.
Was it Bill Dance?
It was Bill Dance.
Oh, my bad. Well, I must have got a very young version of Bill Dance. Then when I came back, fishing was always kind of sporadic here and there. And everybody gets asked this question, when did you start fishing?
Right.
I mean, I could say, well, when I was young, but when I really took it serious, which is a very big difference between when I started and when I actually got pretty decent at it. Yeah. When I took that jump, I would say probably early 2000s.
When you were serious about it.
Yeah. And ever since then, man, it was a lot of bank, a lot of boat every now and then with my dad.
But you weren't always a tournament angler.
No, that was recent.
Yeah.
Very recent. And then I fell in love with kayak fishing just on a strict budget, $300. Old kayak that was left out in a shed. I don't even remember the name of it. It was Craigslist buy. And, dude, I'm not going to lie, man. I went out on it kind of scared. I was one of those anglers that if I can't see the bottom, I don't want anything to do with it, So, for me, kayak fishing came on strong, kind of in a little bit of fear, and a little bit of like, man, I kind of want to overcome this. I'm bank fishing. I can't get over there to those spool islands, and I want to try and get there. But I don't know how deep it is. It was just a huge experiment for me. But when I caught my first redfish out off Laguna Madre, 361 road, dude. Is that 361? No. My bad. SPID, right before you hit the Causeway Bridge. Laguna Shores was right there on the side. I launched out, and I fell in love with it, dude. It was just something different, because as I said hysterically in one of my early videos, all your brain snaps, for me, were just firing off. It was like I'm trying to balance. My first kayak was a 26-inch wide kayak, dude. So I had no choice but to. I've never flipped it. I always was able to balance in it. But a 26-inch wide kayak, dude, like for your first kayak, that's pretty sketchy.
Well, I'm gonna tell you right now, if you never flipped it, you've never lived life.
That's true. Well, I didn't flip it in the flat. I've never flipped in the flats.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just for the record.
I know a couple guys that have flipped.
Yeah, and one of them is his birthday.
It's his birthday today, folks.
So I fell in love with it, and my passion just eventually led to ambassadorships, led to representing companies that obviously me and you share, writing in magazines, YouTube, and winning certain awards, both on and off the water, I guess you could say.
Right.
Yeah.
And your videos as well have won a couple of awards.
Yeah. Videos have won a couple
Next Level
awards.
Fishing TV on YouTube, guys. If y'all, I'm pretty sure all 48 of y'all have seen a Next Level Fishing TV video on YouTube. But if y'all haven't, go check it out. Scroll all the way down till you see me and keep on watching that one.
Yeah, you'll see it.
And that's about the best one.
That actually, it really is, dude.
Right?
It really is.
Is it?
Yes, because
The one with the two redfish? Bull reds?
yeah, the bull reds, to me, that was because it showed a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Danger and fish danger.
Yeah. Danger. So, why, if y'all tuned in to the last show, we got into Mr. Castro's brain a little bit. We got into the inshore side. But this episode is going to be more catered to the offshore kayak fishing. And we got a lot of people asking questions, man. I got quite a few people slide into my DMs and ask what they need, how to go by it. So you mentioned the fear aspect of kayak fishing when you were hanging around Laguna Shores. Why BTB?
Man.
Beyond the breakers.
Yeah, and I'll be 100% honest with you, man. So I was influenced. We're all influenced by somebody, right? At some point in time, somebody had to do something that wanted to make you try kayak fishing.
Right.
So for me, it was the East Coasters. I first got turned on to a lot of these East Coast kayak fishermen. Big shout out to them. Kayak Kevin and Rob Choi. Those two guys alone were the very first videos that I saw just big fish coming out. And this plugs into YBTB, right? So they're out there pulling out these big bull reds, bull stripers, selling these DVDs on places like corner streets, stores, and stop and goes, or whatever would be their stop and go version of what it is for us. And so big fish automatically was instilled in my brain, dude. This is before the GoPro craze and era.
They were selling DVDs.
They were selling DVDs, dude.
Of them fishing.
Yeah. They were doing off of the Chesapeake Bay, and there were tours. So they would go up and down battling crazy, crazy environments. I mean, I thought they were offshore. At that point in time, I didn't really understand or knew too much about Chesapeake Bay. But they were battling what I thought was offshore, but they were never really offshore. Mm-hmm. So then that got me into searching for that style of, man, this is crazy. It's entertaining to watch, you know. You got these small little, what I would call canoes back then, you know, like that's how green I was. I would call a kayak a canoe. I was like, man, these guys are just slaying these big old fish on these little boats. So then when I searched, dude, I ran into a local here. I ran into two, but I ran into one quick, which Ty Sutherland, which we all know.
Yeah.
If you're from Texas. I was like, man, okay. So this is doable in Texas. And he was going out there and catching some kingfish. I thought that was great. And then eventually down the line, I ran into Professor Salt, and who just dissected the fishery. When I was like, wow, okay, this guy he's a handler. And dude, I wanted to do that. Like I wanted to go out there and catch some big fish to feel that tug that they were getting and receiving. But I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of intimidated when I first went out. I was in an upgraded Heritage from my first, just going in through the surf. And when I took my first tumble, it was a little scary, dude. I was out like on the third gut, and not really understanding the lay of the land. It freaked me out, dude. So I pulled back and waited a few years. I was like, nah, this isn't I can't do this, man. At least not alone. And
By yourself.
not by myself. Yeah, exactly. I wasn't with anybody. And I pumped the brakes for about 2.5 years, dude. 3 years. Went back inshore till I felt comfortable and said, you know what? I'm gonna pound myself in my biggest fear, which is the surf. If I can conquer the surf, I can conquer whatever else is out there. And that was the beginning stages.
What was past the surf.
When you say lay of the land, like, you got to understand, I didn't know that our shell was a small, slow, incremental drop off. I figured, well, I'm in the Gulf of Mexico. Right. Like, if I go past Bob Hall Pier, I could be in 200-300 foot of water. Yeah. Like, I mean, I just didn't know, and I had to find all that stuff out.
And you weren't deep into the electronics age either.
No, zero electronics.
You could pass the breakers and still not know.
Right.
You're gonna stick your rod down there and you're gonna be like, man,
right,
I don't feel no rocks.
Yeah.
I don't feel no shell. You
yeah.
know,
what's that slippery thing that's hugging my leg?
What are these dark things moving? There ain't no clouds above.
Yeah.
Right.
Driven by fear, dude.
Yeah.
If I were to put it in a small sentence, my BTB experience, I was just trying to conquer a fear. Really, what it was.
So, we got a couple of guys on. My man, Paco Campos is in the house. Todd Johnson, which is another high-end BTB kayak angler. Eric Benavente. And my man, Poco Cedillo, is back.
Poco, congrats, dude.
Yep.
Second place, I don't care what they say.
Nope. Me neither. So, you mentioned some of the old school guys were doing it. My man Rob Choi is the art guy, right? He does the art.
Yeah, Rob Choi is just great. Yeah, he's an Old Town guy, or originally Ocean, and he does. Full circle. Like 7 years later, I ended up buying a piece of artwork from him, right. And he does that.
That art?
Jikatsu. Somebody fact check me here. It's where you put the fish print on.
Yeah.
And I purchased that. It was a yellowfin tuna. I hang it up on the back of my whenever I go live on my YouTube channel. You always see it there. But that was kind of like,
the bluefin too.
I gotta buy a piece of art from the person who changed the course of my life. There's these little things that change your life. And I mean, I would be a completely different person if it wasn't for kayak fishing. I'd probably be playing Minecraft with my son right now.
Yeah, you'd be looking for Pokemon or something.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
I
mean, who knows, dude?
So, the old school guys were doing it when you said you were driven by fear, right? And you break through the breakers, and you're like, man, there's no more breakers to break through. You see it flat. Unless you win like on a bad day, right? But let's say you went on a good day, which probably you did. You know what I mean? You break through the breakers. Now what are you doing? When you went from Laguna Shores, now you're offshore. Who told you, man? You're gonna need a little bit stiffer rods than that. You're gonna want to use some ribbon fish. You're gonna want to use some duster rigs. You know what I mean? Who lined you out on that stuff?
Honestly, man, I learned everything just on observation. So I didn't really. The first person I actually went out with offshore was Ruben. But the second person that I actually Happy birthday, Ruben. Second person I went out with, who I think was maybe 1 or 2 years of experience, was Todd Johnson. That was where I first saw a little bit of what was needed, right? Believe it or not, as much as I've been out there, I've never really fished with some of these, I call them pioneers, right? Your Ties, your Glenn Maddens. I've never fished with those guys before. And I fished with Todd maybe once or twice, ever. So a lot of my stuff was based off observation and learning from guys from New Zealand, Australia, Hawaii, East, West Coast. I never really had anybody really say this is exactly what you need to do. And probably for more reasons than one, which we'll get into later with this whole YouTube thing. So I kind of I went out there offshore with an inshore mentality and made all the mistakes in the world. Right. Some of you guys who have been doing this, I have a lot of friends who have gone out and caught fish their very first time. Okay, I want to put this in perspective. I didn't catch my first king until well over after 1 year of offshore kayak fishing because I didn't have anybody to tell me anything. I was trolling high when I should have been trolling low. I was trolling low when I should have been trolling high. I was going out when I shouldn't have. The water temps weren't right. Everything was wrong. It was frustrating.
I'm going to stop you real quick.
Go ahead.
Because I got a couple of guys on here that have asked on... they're barely getting started. They cruise out with that guy that does those tours from Houston. What's the guy's name? He does it once a year.
I don't know anybody that does tours.
Yeah, he does like a big BTB gathering. Come out with me from Houston. Everybody show up.
Oh, yeah, I know you're talking about. What about him?
BTB.
Yeah, I know you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So explain a little bit in more depth of what it means to cruise low and to cruise high.
So we don't have a substantial water depth column, right? So we're talking about, and I'm going to clarify this, what I've learned at least. We have obviously not the clearest water, but we do have clear water on a handful of days throughout the year. Sometimes water temperature, surface water temperature can be substantially different from below or vice versa, especially during like cold water upwellings. What I find early in the season when nobody's really catching kings is I will actually catch them real low and running very, very shallow. My theory on that is that the water might be just a little bit warmer down below versus your surface temperature. So you gotta understand, like, our water here, our shell drops off so shallow, and although you don't have necessarily a technical water column, right? You can say, oh, I'm going to target 25 feet versus 200 feet. We don't have that. But we do have some substantial water temperature differentials when you say surface plus clarity versus dirty, chalked up, king green water and that bottom layer water. There is some temperature differential. And I know this just because of electronics and what I've learned from them and water temperature. But that's what I mean by that. You know, sometimes the water can be so nasty, the visibility can be so bad. And I'm a true believer that kingfish really either have, I think they have bad vision. I've seen this. This is obviously a little bit of regurgitated information and knowledge that I've learned. But I've seen it in my own practice where when the water is bad, dude, kings will misstrike your stuff all day. And some of y'all may say, oh, well, they're going for the kill first, right? That's what kings like to do. They sometimes like to come in, hit, swim off away, and they'll come in around and then hit it again for their final blow. And there might be some truth to that. But man, I don't know, dude. I've gotten pretty good at making stinger rigs, and sometimes these kings I've seen them in clear water looking down and just completely miss a strike. And I know they're bursting full speed, steam ahead. So I think they have bad vision. I don't know how I got into bad vision. What were we talking about again?
I don't know, man.
We're live.
We are live. Happy birthday, Ruben.
Happy birthday.
We're explaining to the guys that had questions on the low.
Yeah. So you can. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, dude, if you're an electronics guy or if you're on a clear day out, you know, really look down at things. There's a lot of times where I will catch kings low. A lot of times where I will catch kings high. And when I say low and high, it's not substantial. Remember what I said earlier about water clarity and temperature. But there is a thing, right? You can put it in front of their noses and they'll eat it all day. Or you can fish high and hope that the school of kings that's running around are going to take notice. But there's multiple things that come into factor there. You know, you're competing either against bait, and do you have enough teaser there to grab their attention? I like to fish, even though we're talking about within a 50-foot column. I do like to know where the fish are running, and this isn't just kings. This is different species as well. Could be snapper, could be Spanish, could be ling. You know, it could be a bunch of different species. Could be jacks. I like to know where they're at. I don't even care. I don't care if it's 50 feet. I want to know where they're at. and I want to present whatever I'm presenting in their face.
So you ain't going just blind.
No,
Right.
no, absolutely not. There's a stigma that, I don't even know if that's the right word to say, but people say, oh, kayak fishing offshore, there's no skill involved, you're just sitting there paddling and trolling. Well, it depends on how you look at it, man. I mean, yeah, because you may get that feeling, but you're just getting lucky. But if you can actually go out there and target and load up over 100 pounds of fish, well over 100 pounds of fish, which I've done, and then your neighbor who's fishing next to you only loads up on 40 or 20, there's a reason for that. Now, there is technique involved in offshore kayak fishing, but a lot of people don't talk about it. And we definitely ain't going to talk about it right now.
Well, my man Drew Turner, which thinks your mic is hot.
Is it hot?
I don't know.
What do you mean hot as in like?
Drew's thinking we're on iTunes or something. We ain't that big time yet, Mr. Turner. He's asking if Chris believes you never want to use chrome swivels for our waters.
Chrome swivels. I have experienced using small swivels. Everything I do is small. If it's chrome, you tend to get a little. You're like you're bulky. I think I know what you're. I'm assuming maybe you've been cut off before. There is a difference, right? So, dark swivels, those black swivels, especially the chrome, sometimes they can present themselves as a lure, right? So if it's a super clear day and you're rocking a swivel, let's say on a whatever leader, I don't know how you're using your swivel, but if you're getting cut off a lot, you don't want to go with a bulky swivel, especially if it's chrome. You can catch anything on chrome. I mean, I know you guys can't see this, but there's some spoons to the left of us hanging on the wall.
You can literally chrome, though. Those are platinum.
Well, yeah, platinum. You can literally catch any pelagic species in our waters off of anything silver and shiny, especially on a clear water day where the sun's up high and you're getting that reflection. And
hey, what?
I'm not gonna say what I'm smelling right now.
What poundage are we talking about? 50 pounds swivel.
I see a lot of guys using these big old fat knucklehead swivels that are like 80 pounds. Look, if you want, here's my best advice to you guys. If we're going to talk about swivels, S Pro, because an S Pro swivel, you can get it down to about 80 pounds, and it's super small. It's like super small. S Pro swivel, get your 60 to 80 pound. They're super tiny. Use that and forget about all the technicality. That's a freebie for you guys. If any of you guys, don't go big swivels.
Roy's Bait and Tackle. And I'm going to stop that right now. We're going to talk about who's on our koozie, which Chris brings a lot of knowledge of beyond the breaker fishing, offshore fishing, right? And
still learning a lot.
The company on our koozies is Roy's Bait and Tackle, guys. Pretty much everything that Chris is going to talk about today can be purchased at Roy's Bait and Tackle. Cruise in at Roy's Bait and Tackle. Talk to my man Rocky. Talk to the staff. Super knowledgeable staff. They could tell you what you need. They could set you up with your duster rigs. They could teach you how to tie your own. And you could go BTB fishing.
They got everything there.
But be careful, right? Always have a partner.
Yeah, always have a partner, especially if you're green. And, partners is a relative subject. I'm not a big fan of those big groups that go out there and say, hey, let's all get together, man. And I know, dude, some of you guys may be upset that I'm going to say this, but this is Spooled Life Live, and I'm going to keep it raw.
This is the
and
raw.
This is my opinion, dude. This is my opinion. You guys can disagree with me as much as you want. There's no problem with that. I'm not a big fan of those guys that go out there and bring in mass groups collectively and just say, hey, if we're going to do this, let's do it right and be in a group. And there's some truth to that, right? If you're going to mess up, it's good to be around a lot of guys. But, there's a flip side to that. First off, there's liability. I wouldn't personally want to take that liability of orchestrating an event like that, because there's nobody signing waivers. If somebody dies, who's at fault? If somebody drowns, who's at fault? And then if your family doesn't sign the waiver, nobody's at fault. Everybody's at fault. We can get ugly and technical with that kind of stuff. So if I'm going to give you some advice, find somebody that's going to give you one-on-one personal experience and knowledge who, if you mess up, you kind of got somebody with a little bit of knowledge that can help you out. Somebody who knows how to self-rescue, who has all the safety equipment, and somebody who's not going to load you up with all this nonsense gear that you really don't need.
Right.
You can go out there and be safe with one rod,
Yeah.
life jacket, bilge pump. The list goes on and on.
And we're going to get into that a little later on another segment that we got about having a legit partner to come save you, because one of us at this table got into a little bit of a problem.
Yeah.
But we're not going to get into that right now. We're going to get into that about 45 minutes. So that was our Koozie Talk segment. Roy's Bait and Tackle has everything you need. Go check them out. Talk to the staff. They'll set you up with what you need. But safety is at the top of the list, guys, right? PFDs. What other safety options do you got?
Man, it goes on and on, dude.
Right?
I could throw safety equipment all on this table right here. Honestly, you can never have too much, right? And you can't. I'm going to quote some of the old Roy's guys, Glenn and Todd. I maybe have said this. You can prepare for, or what did they say? There's a real good piece of advice, right? You can have all the safety equipment, but you can't prepare for it all, right? You can overthink things out there. You can overpack things out there. It's really just it's a little bit of just going out there, doing the paces. You want to have your basic safety stuff, like your VHF radio, floatable. Make sure it's waterproof. Your life jacket, of course. Oh yeah. Your bilge pump. I've rescued, my average of rescuing, I don't talk about this much, and I probably should, but I average about 1 to 2 rescues a year on people that I don't personally always know. Sometimes it's just random. It's a problem that we probably should address more, but it happens, and it's not always all their fault. Sometimes it's the kayak. Sometimes it's just a little lack of knowledge. But your first aid kit. Sorry, I'm getting a little off track there. Know how to self-rescue, man. That's probably one of the biggest ones. I can't tell you how many times I've had guys go out there who think they can get back on their kayak. Not all kayaks are made equal. Sometimes those more stable platforms are the toughest to turn over. And sometimes you do not want to find out that you cannot lift your own weight without capsizing your kayak offshore when you don't have ground underneath your feet. So there's the ladder method. There's a couple different ways of getting on your kayak if you're a heavy set dude. Google the ladder entry. It's probably the safest if you have a dry hatch. It's probably the safest for a big boy. I think that's important to say, Ramby, only because we got our kayak evolution is, it used to be that only the athletic guys could sit there and paddle a 26-inch kayak. But our kayaks have gotten wider to where the big boys can play. Huh?
The ladder? What did you call it?
Ladder entry.
Is the ladder entry entering through the exit?
It's either or.
Right.
You can either re-enter your kayak through the bow or the stern.
There you go.
By saddling your the bow. Let's use the bow for example. So you grab the bow of your kayak and you put it underneath, like a saddle, underneath between your legs, and you reach forward and you're basically you're bringing yourself back towards the cockpit of your kayak. A lot of guys who are not overweight, but I shouldn't say that, right? But
obese.
We're big, obese. That's better than overweight. They don't know that, right? They're sitting here trying to grab their side of their kayak, and they just have too much weight. The kayak just isn't designed for that. There are other ways of actually self-rescuing yourself, and it's important to know those little details.
They got to jump in that kayak beast.
Yeah.
That kayak beast
Yep.
program.
And keep things clear.
Yep.
Your milk crate can go against you.
So I'm going to jump into Bobby Trigo's question, and I'm going these. If I miss your question, guys, I'm sorry. Shoot it back in there so I could see it. But if I do miss it, just hit up Chris, slide into his DMs and ask him, right? Bobby asks, what is your ideal weather conditions? And of course, you got a whole different ball game of weather conditions. But what is ideal for someone that's going out for the first time, 5 times? Right?
Okay, yeah. Well, those are two different questions. I wouldn't recommend what my ideal, because I've had enough comfortable experience to where I would say, would I go out in? I don't even post up. I've gone out a handful of times this year, but I just don't push it because I don't want anybody to say, all right, well, if he's doing it, then okay, I'm going to wait for these conditions. Absolutely not. So the second question, if somebody's entering the sport, calm lake day, I wouldn't even go over 1.5 feet of surf. And some of you guys may sound like, or say, well, that's not really much, but you'd be surprised, dude. You'd be surprised how many guys I see flip and break equipment, lose fish, lose rods, lose $1,000 worth of gear. Electronics are sunk. Everything is, and it goes from let's say a 2-foot surf day, and it turns into a over $1,000 loss day. So if you're out there, you want to experience this, man, go on like a 1-foot day. Enjoy yourself, man. Go on a 1-foot chop day, and don't be scared to jump out of your kayak in the second bar, grab onto the stern.
That's what I do.
And swim it in, dude.
Yeah, dude.
There's no,
And don't let it discourage you either. I mean,
no.
You're sounding pretty negative right now.
I am, but I just want to make sure, there's guys that, there are two types of people in this world, Ram.
We're sounding like we're watching the Blair Witch Project.
If you're clumsy, just go on a negative foot day. Yeah. If you're a clumsy dude, go on a negative foot day. But if you
fish the Laguna or something.
Yeah, go fish the Laguna.
Yeah. That's where everybody else is. Dustin, the unexpected is exactly unexpected, right? So let's get in. Let me cruise into all these questions.
I haven't even looked at this. Holy smokes. Hang on.
My man Danny Zunigo, we're going to head out, man. Emilio is in the house. Gene Coronado. So let's get to the next question. The interruption of media. We discussed that a little bit when we were talking about the inshore, but the offshore. You said you jumped in, you turned on your GoPro cameras, you got a YouTube channel, and now it's like the BTB pandemic where everybody's doing it, right? So everybody's checking out the YouTube videos. Not only you, but everybody's checking out YouTube videos. They're creating their own YouTube videos, and you show up to your spot, BTB, and then you have like 30 trucks there.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Depends on the setting, man. If I'm, like I said in the first one, I don't want to beat it. Well, no, I don't want to beat a dead horse here, right? But if you guys caught the first, before we had to redo the group, the first, I was talking a little bit. I'm going to comb through this real quick. We experienced the same issues offshore as in inshore, and I may have played an early part of some of this negativity that I'm about to talk about, but I learned kind of quickly. If I'm in my, there's two sides of Chris Castro, right? There's the go out, leisure, recreational offshore kayak fishing, and then there's the tournament side of it, or the mindset. And obviously, I think we all want a little bit of space. Nobody wants to lose a fish crisscrossing lines.
Right.
So, YouTube has changed the game a little bit, but I think you're right. One of the good things about us doing this over again is I caught on what you were saying about has it improved. Remember what we were talking about?
Yeah.
Yes, has it gotten better? And now that I kind of think of it, I think it has. I think a little bit more. There's enough groaning and moaning out there that people were getting upset about maybe blowing out areas, special areas that were keen to certain people, spots that maybe have just been renowned for winning tournaments, and now you're stepping on these guys' toes. And you're changing their game plan up, right? You're disrupting, as Ram said, the waters by media. There's a lot of water out there. The one unique thing about Corpus Christi offshore is you've got probably about 80 miles of shoreline to work with, and there's a lot of fish. Are there some special areas that nobody will tell you about? Yeah. Nobody's going to talk about those. Don't even ask. Just go out there, have fun. the most, I would say the most piece of advice I could give you is to fish the common areas. What's more relevant, which is your rigs. Corpus Christi is known for their inshore rigs. We have so many inshore rigs, dude. And there's structure, right? There's inshore rigs and there's structure along the Texas coast, more than what people think. And I think it's important to just go out there and do the work, you know. Or if you're gonna watch and you want to get spots off of a YouTuber, somebody who's just blowing, all right, go ahead, go do it. But what you're gonna notice, dude, is offshore is probably one of the most susceptible to pressure as far as changing a fishery. So you're gonna shoot yourself in the foot, or that individual will shoot themselves in the foot much quicker offshore than somebody would for a redfish spot. You know, and I could say that to snapper, for instance. I'll use that as an example. You know, we have good kings, we have good cobia, we have good snapper. You'll notice I hardly ever put up snapper pictures. I hardly ever talk about it in general compared to what I'm on them, or the amounts that I'm on them. And it's just because I don't know. I mean, snapper is such a sensitive species. If 3, 4, 5 guys come right after me, that whole area is ruined. Just do your work. Go out there, watch the birds, look for turtles. Put on your electronics, put in the time, and if anything you can get from fishing, social media, and all this shortcut stuff, like, don't just want it, just want to learn it. You know what I mean? Do the work. Everybody wants to know how, but nobody wants to put in the effort.
Right.
And I think if you guys can figure that out, you'll be all right, and we'll be a happy fishery.
Little baby Castro is in the house.
Where at?
Evelyn's watching.
Where at?
At your house, I'm sure. Your daughter's watching.
Oh, my daughter's watching. Evelyn. Yeah, watch out for her if she ever decides to kayak. It's not my son you got to worry about. It's her.
CJ just had his birthday.
CJ, happy birthday. My son just turned 8. So, yeah. Holy smokes, time flies.
There's a little feedback on the mic.
Little feedback.
Well said, Castro. All right, so we did the koozie talk. Let's talk about the sailfish, man. We're at 43 minutes. Let's talk about the sailfish you caught. The only sailfish caught off a kayak, right?
I would say only
On
video
the
evidence.
Corpus Christi coast?
We don't know. There's some say-sos here and there. I haven't seen, at least in Corpus, for sure,
Right.
possibly. In other areas along the Texas coast, I think there's been one that I know of.
How big was it?
87 inches.
87
Definitely the biggest that we know of, for sure. The
Really?
first to actually be videoed. I know that.
Yeah.
That was special, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was special. That was shout out to Robert out there. He
Mr.
actually
Moore? Mr. Moore was out there as well.
well no, Robert Moore was out there. Robert Rodriguez.
Yeah.
He was. I scanned across the photo banner, so that image that he has there, where it's me on the ocean, Trident 15, and the sailfish jumping up.
Mm-hmm.
He actually was recording that moment, and kindly gave me the footage for it, since he recorded from a third-person view, or second, whatever. I'm thinking of video games here. And I captured that still from his video. And so, yeah, shout out to Robert if you're out there. But shout out to both those guys. There was a few other guys out there. I just can't remember who they were. But, yeah, Robert Moore and Robert Rodriguez were there just because I didn't know what I had, dude. It felt just like the video game, though. Mm-hmm. You know, like when you go to the fishing shows and those dudes are posted up and they want you to grab the rod and line and it shows a sailfish on the screen.
Yeah, you got to.
And you're, dude, it felt exactly like that.
So you're like, man, I've been through this before.
I mean, look, the video doesn't lie, right? I've never caught a sailfish. I've hunted them all throughout the Atlantic coast for 2 years before that. 2 to 3 years before that. But somehow I knew that I had something like that, dude. It was either tarpon or sail. But after I saw it jump, after its 5th or 6th jump, holy smokes, dude. Words can't explain that
Right.
feeling, dude. There's some video that I've never released of me freaking out in the truck. I'll never release that until I die, but it's kind of embarrassing. But yeah, I was in disbelief.
Yeah, there's nothing to be embarrassed, man.
Yeah.
And maybe you could release it exclusively on Spool Life Live. We're still waiting on that horse ride from Poco, you know.
Yeah.
But maybe we'll see that a little later.
But let me tell you, can I give you some inside info?
Yeah,
since we're keeping it raw?
Yeah, it's raw, man. Tell us.
Since that Sailfish, it hasn't been the only one. We've seen more.
Oh, really?
Yeah. A lot more, actually.
So they're coming in.
Let's just
if
cut.
They weren't, right?
Thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll see you next Monday. Yeah, there's something to them, dude.
Yeah. That's exciting, man. Ruben is in the house. Happy birthday. Go back to the very beginning, Ruben. We gave you a huge shout out, man. You owe me dinner or something. Todd Johnson, they feed on sponges and plant life around the coral and benthic structures along the Texas coast. Dennis Garcia, the cobia fight, though. That's the next thing we're going to talk about. So my man Marshall was with you with Ling, right?
Yeah, Marshall.
Give us a little bit about that and how the bat broke.
Well, it was just fate, dude. Just like the Sailfish. Just time on the water, fate.
Right.
There's no skill. I mean, well, there's a little bit of skill involved as far as presentation and knowing certain things. But that one, I would say... It was funny, man, because I went on a 3-day tour. Not a tour. I don't even know why I said that. I went on a 3-day back-to-back, just cruising up and down the Texas coast. I wanted to do a quick 3-part series, right? So I went out with day one was the day that the beaches, we found a way through the beaches during COVID by crossing some barriers. Got on some fish. I think we was slinging double hookup kings. Dude, it was fun. Second day went out with JC, Todd Johnson for some topwater kings. You know, Todd and Glenn, Marty, all those guys have been doing it and kind of showing that technique off for the past few years. And it just looks sick, dude. You know, I mean, I don't want to say you get tired of catching kings the same old way, but whenever you see a king hit on topwater, it kind of makes you feel like, all right, now I'm tired of catching kings the same old way. It's scary. It's fun. It's just, it's, I don't know, man. It was a great experience. And then after that second day, I had a conversation with JC, man. And I was like, dude, I need a cobia. I'm going to go for a cobia. And he was like, dude, I feel you, you know, you need to get one. Because I've been plagued by him, dude. You know, I've caught a lot of undersized. I've never caught anything worth showing, dude. I mean, so undersized, I wouldn't even post him. It sucks, man. And you know, one thing about cobia, they're such a smart, or maybe I think they're smart, but the ones that I've fished for and sight casted, super smart. There's always been a mama there. There's always been maybe the male, and there's always been a small couple of offsprings is what it looks like. And it's almost as if when I pitch, doesn't matter if it's live bait, doesn't matter what it is, whatever I've pitched to them, which I won't discuss here, and they've took the mama, the big cobias will hang back. They'll go up to it and they'll hang back, and it's almost like they kind of telling their offspring like, go feed. Mm-hmm. Smart, dude. At least that's the way I feel. I feel that they're just so smart in that sense.
Go feed to so you get caught.
Right.
Go feed.
No, go feed as in like, you go get it. You know, they're little puppies or their offspring. You go get it. And I've always hooked up to those little ones for whatever reason. And then I had been pre-fishing a little bit before this whole 3-day skit. And I finally decided this is where I want to get it. I had enough knowledge and information about this particular area, how to get them. And I finally, you know, after a lot of time on the water, for me at least, was finally able to stage some good bait, cause a little bit of ruckus, do a little bit of homemade chum. I was able to kind of bring up a little bit of what I thought was possibly 2 big cobias and 1 mediocre one. And I'm pretty sure I stuck the mama on this one, dude.
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't know it was pretty deep down, but I knew they were there because I was marking some monsters on my hummingbird, dude. Hummingbird has this cool little identifier I always talk about where it kind of separates your small, medium to big fish. And I just kept, on this certain area, I just kept getting these 2 big old fish, dude. Just marking, consistent throughout the day. And I think Matt Murphy was there, Hassel was there, Denny Grief was there, Marshall obviously was there, and I might be missing somebody. I just stayed there where I was at, close. Mm-hmm. and was able to.
You were gonna work that.
I was gonna work. Yeah, I was pretty. I knew that was
something.
It was something, dude. Yeah, and I just stuck to my guns, and when it hit shook, I didn't want to believe it at first. I thought it was maybe a shark because of the head shakes, but it wasn't. It wasn't like a sprint away like a shark will usually slow tug you out. This one was like it was trying to jack me up, dude. It was staying stationary and wanted to go to structure, and then it decided not to at the perfect moment. And I was able to kind of use my instant reverse on the Predator PDL, which isn't enough. Like if a cobia wants to go into structure, it will go. But for whatever reason, at this point in time, I was able to kind of give it enough pressure to not want to go there. So it drugged me out a little bit, but we stayed within, I would say, 50 yards of structure. When it surfaced, I still couldn't tell, and I think my indicator was Marshall's face. You know, his whoa, whoa. You know, and Marshall, it's been a while, dude. You know, he was the cobia whisperer there for a minute, man. And when he finally gave me that face, I was like, dude, hey, this is either good ramen or this is a cobia, dude. You know what I mean? So yeah, dude, I knew we were on, dude, and it was a battle. I ended up bad weather was approaching, thunder, lightning.
Oh, really?
Yeah, dude, it was coming from afar, and I ended up breaking the rod. Had to reel in the cobia with the broken rod. Had to flip the rod, the reel upside down and reel it like a newbie. Wow. Yeah, dude, it was intense, dude.
Yeah.
But it was one of my most memorable catches for sure. Yeah.
That's amazing, dude.
It was legit, dude.
Yeah. Man, you
it
broke
was
the
legit.
bat.
Yeah, broke the bat. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Everything went wrong. I broke the. I mean, this cobia really made me earn it, dude. Yeah. I have a newfound respect for cobia. I broke the bat on its head, but we had two identical bats. I didn't show
video on that, right?
Oh, what's that?
There's
a video on it. I have the whole thing on YouTube. Uh-huh. And Marshall ended up throwing me a backup bat, same exact bat. And dude, I mean, I don't know, dude. Like that freaked me out, right? I'm breaking a rod, I'm breaking a bat, and that to me, if I'm going to describe to you what it's like to fight a cobia, just be prepared for that. At least at the level I was at that given moment. I didn't overstress that rod after I looked at it. And a bunch of people commented. A lot of guys from Florida, they were like, dude, I didn't see you doing anything wrong. So I don't know if I nicked or hit or chipped a rod. I don't know. There could have been something wrong with the rod. But the fact of the matter is, as I was fighting this 57-inch cobia that was capable of breaking my rod, and I was hitting this thing until it turned white. Because I've heard horror stories. I've heard the Kevin Kushnick story about him getting hit in the gonads, and just him never forgetting that moment, dude.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be that dude. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean,
Rob Troy said it the best, dude. Out of Virginia, he was like, "All right, Chris Castro, you're hitting this fish till he's dead, and then until he was dead." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I hit him when he was dead, and then I knocked his soul out, dude. Like that was my goal, dude. I had to make sure this thing was, because it was big enough to put fear in me, dude.
So this cobia fight was a lot better than the Mayweather fight.
Absolutely.
Was it?
You see, Mayweather is more like the Sailfish. You know, just a quick striker. He's got the speed. He's got, you know, the change of direction. He's got the head shakes. But I would say the cobia is a little bit more like Tyson, dude.
Oh, yeah.
You know, not the fastest. You know, he's not going to. I mean, he's fast. But when he wants to put the hurt on you, he'll put the hurt on you, dude. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Kobe. Yeah, so I fought Mayweather and I fought Tyson.
Man, you've done a lot, dude. And you've been on Spooled Life. We're going to get into this. We're at 55 minutes and we passed the other segment, but we're not going to let it go because this is a huge deal. We're going to get into this other segment I like to call Get Hawaii, bro. We should have talked about it when we were talking about safety, but I was offshore one time. And of course, this show isn't about Ram Garcia. It's about Chris Castro. But I'm bringing this up because my man Chris Castro was there to actually save me when I had a hook in my foot coming in. So give us a little bit about that. I know you don't got the full rundown of what happened.
I remember it though.
Right. So I'm gonna give them up to where you start jumping into the water.
Well, first off, before I even get to that point, dude, it was the scariest moment in my life because I had to make a decision right there and then that I might have to give mouth to mouth to a dude for the first time in my life.
Yeah.
No, but seriously, it was it was pretty scary, dude. I knew you were in trouble, dude.
Let me get him up to speed.
Okay, go ahead.
So it was the Extreme Kayak Series, right? Or was it the Blue Water? I think it was the Extreme.
Boomy was there.
Yeah, Boomy was there. It was the Extreme Kayak Series.
I think it was Extreme.
It was the last Extreme Kayak
Extreme
tournament that was in Corpus Christi. Bad weather. Coast Guard comes and circles the rigs. Yeah, it was the Extreme. And circle the rigs. They tell us, hey, everybody head back to shore. So me and Ruben were partnered up at the rigs. And we finally make the decision, hey, you know what? Let's turn back. And I was there. We saved your life. Ruben was not there. I don't think Ruben was there. But it's his birthday. We're not going to say nothing. So you were there, Ruben. But we head back. And usually when I'm out there, I'll rig down my stuff, right? I'll put up my my duster rigs. I'll throw them in the hole of the kayak. Nothing is on top of the kayak that would possibly hurt me, right? But the Coast Guard choppers were all over the place. They're telling me to go in. Panic is setting in. And we turn back and we cruise back. And I run into Ruben. Ruben's next to me. Mike Flores. I run into Mike Flores on the way back. And I got rods sticking in the air with duster rigs hanging off of them, you know. And we're trying to head back as fast as we can. And we get to the action, to the hot zone. And my kayak flips over. Well, when it flips over, one of the duster rigs digs into my foot, you know, and each wave that's coming in is pushing me. It's pushing my kayak. It's pushing that hook further in, and there's nothing I could do. And I'm thinking, man, I'm just going to break this rod. You know, I'm just going to break the rod, man. I don't even have a knife on me, guys, to cut this line. I'm going to break this rod and hopefully just get some distance between the hook and my foot, you know? So I'm maybe, I don't know, 30, 40 yards from shore. And I'm sucking in water and I look up and I see Chris's face and I give him that eye. You know, I give him the eye of the day. Something's wrong. Boomy's there. Boomy's taking pictures of the event. I tell Boomy, hey, don't come. This is going to be this is some good footage. You know, don't even bother coming to trying to save me. We got someone coming in. And we're panning. We're giving you the mic. Take the mic, Chris.
Yeah. No, that was scary, dude. What was scary about that moment was the way that the current was kind of running. It was kind of running up north. So Ram was, we were, for those of you who know the sticks, is basically where we're at. And probably shouldn't have said that. But anyway, Ram is going more north. So he's kind of coming in, but he's also running north. And, dude, every time, you know, first off, you were in the PA, which is absolutely one of the worst kayaks to flip in the surf and to take on water because it's a big kayak, dude. You know, and when you're taking on that, it's a look, nothing against Hobie PA, right? Great kayak. Offshore, just probably not the best kayak when it comes to jeopardizing your safety. And that's just me keeping it real. You know, when kayaks flip and they don't have the best hatch designs, sometimes when they're bouncing, that air pressure within the hole can sort of act like a plunger, right? So, you know, when that hole's bouncing and the waves are moving, it's sucking up water. And that tends to happen a lot of times in these bigger kayaks. So he couldn't, you know, Ram's a pretty big dude. I mean, how big are your arms, Ram?
I was a lot bigger then. I've been cruising through I've been learning a lot from these guys in the kayak.
I mean, your arms are pretty big. You can flip a kayak. You can flip a much bigger kayak than I could.
Man, if I had to, I could have picked up that kayak and threw it on shore and then swam the rest of the way.
But you couldn't because it was tied to you?
There was a hook in my
foot, dude. Chris. So we swam up there, man, and I just went into just emergency mode, dude. Right. You know, I just went over there. I knew something was wrong. I didn't know what at first. And he told me the hook kept going. Was it your heel?
It was about the middle of my foot.
Yeah, dude.
I got some pictures of it.
Every wave, that hook just kept going in. So I had to get there, dude. Shout out to, did I use line cutters to cut?
That's what I was about to say, man. I actually brought that piece in.
Yeah. So I'm just not remembering this. I actually did have. It was like one of my first sponsorships, dude. I had a line cutter with me. It was the ring. It was tied to my jacket, and so what I ended up doing, I tried to go in there and cut and find where these lines were at. Well, there was multiple lines underneath them, so I was just cutting all of them, dude, until I found the right one. But it sucked because when I was looking at you, I saw the pain on your face, dude. Like, you were just like, you know, I mean, typically you're a jokester,
right.
But every time those waves hit low and that kayak came up, I could tell the tension, and that hook just kept driving into your leg, and you were just like, ugh, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think I remember you saying, I think it's in at one point in time. So it was a sketchy moment, you know. If I didn't have a knife or anything at that given moment, we would have had some real big problems. But we ended up cutting it, and boom, you ended up pulling the hook out of your foot on the surf.
And Ruben dragged the kayak.
I mean, this was so serious, dude. As a YouTuber, I didn't film anything.
No,
I didn't care about. No, dude. The instinct was to save, not to film, and to make an example of somebody. It was, forget YouTube, forget these videos. We got a boy on the water that needs help.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't film any of this, dude, but it happened.
When we were talking about safety stuff, it's super important to have a partner that's experienced. You know what I mean? If it's your first time going out BTB, you don't want to go with somebody that's also their first time.
Yeah.
BTB, you know?
And you know, even at that point, I wasn't like a veteran or anything, but I was thankfully, because of some of the people that I was around, and thankfully to some of the videos that I saw the importance of safety, right? So I wasn't the most experienced at that point in time, but I was drilled enough on safety to where it mattered. Right. And I think that's something that lacks, that we probably don't talk enough about, but it was because of that. So however you want to trickle that down, you could trickle it down from me watching some of Glenn's, maybe taking some advice from Todd. You know, there's a lot of other people besides that who have drilled safety into me, but it's because of those little efforts, dude. I think it's important not to lose that because it mattered at that moment, you know, a lot, and I'll never forget it. So
yeah. It was. I told you I'd repay you at some point, and today's that day, man.
What do you got?
We brought you on Spool Life Live for the second time, dude, and that's a huge accomplishment. Right. So that was the Kepa Hot Bro segment. So let's get into we're already going past time, but I want to get into one special piece of equipment you use offshore.
Special.
Yeah. One of your favorite pieces of equipment.
It's the thing that I was first introduced to. It saved me a lot of money. And, you know, I do have my handheld license.
Whoa!
But it ain't a gun.
All
okay?
Right, well.
It's actually Hey, you're welcome, Robles. No, dude, you know, I'm be really honest with you. I know that's corny, but and funny. I hope so. Dude, one of the first things that to me that has saved me a lot of money, and I'm gonna keep it real with you guys, okay? Prof is probably a better advertiser in this than I am. He's a leash it or lose it guy. I'm not. Okay, I'm horrible at relaying that information, and I shouldn't. But I'm gonna be honest with you, dude. I'm confident with these without leashes, and I'm not advising you to not do it because they put a notch here specifically for that. I just feel comfortable. I have a kayak that is capable of not coming in through the surf with these. I break down everything. I put everything inside my hole. I've learned the hard way. But proof is in the pudding, dude. I've fought double kings. I've fought some pretty decent fish. And these rod holders, dude, they're my favorite piece of gear because I feel comfortable and confident with them. All mine are original since they're already over 6-7 years old, I think.
Yeah. And this is the Railblazer Starport rod.
Yeah,
holder.
so Railblazer, they have a Starport system, and what that means is there's a base mount system. You can mount them anywhere, and they're cross-platform on anything that they provide, right? And what I mean by that is if you want to put a star mount close to your knee on a track system, well, you're not stuck with just using this. You can put a cup holder,
camera boom.
Yeah, camera boom, fish mount. But to me, this right here, that is key for a lot of my offshore rods. It's a gimbal You can lock it in, and your gimbal. Am I saying that right? Yeah, your rod butt right here, kind of locks into there, and you know, obviously if you have a thin handle on your rod, you're probably gonna get a lot more play in here. But I've always picked a rod that is kind of flush and tight in here, and with this little notch, which I know the camera doesn't do it justice, but when you have a rod locked in here, dude, it's tough to beat, dude. I've hit some pretty good fish strike wise. I've never had a fish take a rod out of this. But I'm not saying not to use leashes. You should always use leashes. I just don't, right? But it's one of those like, do as I say, not as I do kind of thing. I'm just super confident in that, and that's my most important piece of gear.
Railblazer, yakgear.com, railblazer.com, or Roy's Bait and Tackles. Got them in stock. Cruise into the shop, like I said earlier, and they'll set you up with everything you need, guys. Shout out to your sponsors. Shout out to the people that back you. Shout out to the people you back.
Yeah, man. So special thanks to ACK, man. They take care of me really on a lot of things, not just the kayak, but they've done so much for me, man. They've treated me extremely well, outfitting me on whatever I need to enjoy my passion, which is kayak fishing. Big shout out to Railblazer and Yak Gear. They've always been real great to me, taking care of us on the water with accessories and whatnot. Burley Pro, man. Marty, if you're out there, dude, shout out to you, man. Those visors and little pouch accessories and whatnot that we can put on our kayaks are money, dude. Old Town and Ocean, the whole Johnson family, dude, you guys have been amazing. And I'm just shouting them out just because they're always in communication with me. I'm not necessarily like 100% sponsored through them, but like they're just good people, dude. You know, always asking questions. Magazines that I've always been able to contribute to. Thank you guys for allowing me to write. You know, writing's a privilege, dude. It's not something that's just given to you just because you fish. So Kayak Angler Magazine, Saltwater Angler whenever I have time. I've contributed to Field and Stream recently. Florida Sportsman. I've even don't ask me why my photos got over to Florida Sportsman, but they're there. I think they're envious of our big kings, dude.
Right.
Yeah, but you can only hear that here raw
on exclusive.
Yeah, Bixby. I gotta shout out Bixby, man, and we do definitely have a drawing coming up, by the way. Boca Chica, thank you. AM Fishing Lures, thank you.
Hold on real quick before you got everybody.
What's that?
Did you mention everybody?
Did I?
Boca Chica.
I'm always gonna miss
AM
somebody.
Lures helps you.
I'm always gonna miss.
So we got a giveaway, guys. Only a handful of people, man, joined in this giveaway. I don't know why, but we got a bunch of good stuff in here. We got some Roy's Bait and Tackle caps, Vanford caps. We got some Grande baits, Yozuri baits,
Really?
H&H baits, Vicious baits, Spooled Outdoor decals. What else we got? Some K Wiggler baits, Reaction Strike baits. All this is going to one winner. Boco, you're forgetting Boco. Happy birthday. Let's pick one. Let's pick one winner.
What's that?
Let's pick somebody from that bucket.
Okay.
One guy. One person's gonna win. Who's it gonna be?
We got Selena and Los Dinos. I'm just kidding, dude. Danny Zuniga?
My man Danny Zuniga. You're the winner.
Zuniga.
You are the winner.
Hey, this is raw. Hopefully you can see that. Man, my gangster came out on that one, dude.
You what?
My gangster came out on that one. Danny, how do you say that?
Danny Zuniga.
Zuniga, okay.
He's in the house too. You are the winner, man. Congrats.
Congratulations, Danny.
Slide into my DMs. We'll get this package to you. Congrats. Couple of things. We might have a show next week. We might not. We're moving. We're moving to the Roy's Bait and Tackle Pavilion. So that's going to be our next show. I'll post who it's going to be in a couple days, maybe a week. But man, thank y'all for tuning in. The support doesn't go unnoticed. Thank you, Chris Castro, for joining back.
Absolutely, anytime.
And if y'all got questions, if I missed y'all's questions,
should we scan? How much time do you have? You want to scan through them or no? There's a lot of questions I didn't.
Hit Chris up.
Yeah, just hit me up. I'll answer them once we terminate. I'll answer them.
Yeah,
in comment.
We'll go back to answering all your questions, man.
Yeah.
I feel like it went by fast.
Yeah, it did, dude.
Right?
It's time flies when you're having fun, dude.
We might need to add another.
And shout out to my wife, dude. That's one of the biggest sponsors right there.
Right?
There's no price on free time.
You know what? It's time to throw in the towel on this show, Chris. You know, we're throwing in the towel the Spooled Life Live way.
All right. What do I get to use this for, Ram? What is this?
Starch it, put it in your right hand back pocket.
Now, before you cut, I mean, seriously, this is pretty important, dude.
Yes.
I hate handling my rods with slimy feet and arms.
Don't ever do that. Don't ever handle your rods with your feet. Tune in next time, guys. Thank y'all for tuning in. Thank you, Chris. We'll see y'all next time.
Thank you, Selena and Lozino.